Up, my friends, and welcome to Studio de Jeffrey. Stephen Jones was on 105.3 The Fan today, and I would like to go over some of the things he said through a realistic lens as opposed to the lens of, oh my God, they're so stupid and everything they say is dumb, and talk about what the Cowboys' plan is for the rest of the offseason. The first thing that jumps out to me about what Steven said is that the Cowboys are not done with free agency. A lot of people assume, well, we're about to draft. The offseason's almost over, dude. We're about to draft. If we're about to draft, free agency's over. Meh. That's incorrect. So let's go through some of the things that Stephen Jones said on the Fan today. And quote number one, thanks to the great Johnny Matches, John Machota, for pulling these quotes so that I can just read them without having to listen to Steven say at the end of the day all the time. We're not done yet in free agency. We feel like we can go into the draft pure and take the best players on our board. Now, you could take that one of two ways. One way would mean that in the next 9 days, they're going to do something significant in free agency that will allow themselves to draft the best player available, because at the moment, they can't do that. And hello, everyone in the chat. It's nice to see you. Happy Tuesday. It's a big day or a big night tonight for me and my recreational sand volleyball team. It's playoffs. So we got to be ready to really get it in, give people the business. So Stephen Jones is either saying that in the next 9 days before they get to the NFL draft that they're going to shore up left guard, shore up wide receiver, and whatever other holes you think that they have, that they're going to do that in the next 9 days. Or, what's up, Briscoe? The alternative, and this one I kind of like, because in addition to being captain trade down when it comes to the draft, I'm also the comp pick king. These are all t-shirts I need to get made. I am the comp pick king. The other thing that could happen is the Cowboys do stay true to a draft board. They haven't signed a capable left guard. They haven't signed another potential starting wide receiver, and they just go draft. And the draft ends, and everybody goes, oh my God, we still got holes. And in reality, once the draft is over, the comp pick formula stops counting. So you go look at the top free agents on the board now at positions of need. And if they signed one today, it would go cancel out a compensatory pick that you'll get for Randy Gregory leaving, for Cedric Wilson leaving, for Connor Williams leaving. At the moment, the Cowboys are going to have 3 extra draft picks in next year's draft because they haven't signed anybody big that cancels out any of the guys they've lost, which means if they get through the draft and then sign the players that they need, those no longer count against the formula, and you are rocking and rolling, baby. Thank you, Kilgore, in the super chat. I appreciate you, brother. And I do need to tell you guys, as you may know, now that I've been fired from all my other jobs, what I got left is this. I get beans at the radio show that I've done the last couple of weeks, and my partners at Bet Online. They need us. They need you. They need me. Bet Online, they're the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Luka might be back for game 3. I'm going to get you some of that action. I like to bet little amounts of money on lots of different sports because it makes me care about things that I would never care about. I like to gamble on NASCAR, like $3 parlays. They got all the latest sports developments, updated odds on the playoffs, fights, next season's futures. You got MLB going now. Bet Online, your continued source for all your sports wagering needs. They also have live betting, your favorite Vegas casino and poker games, and it's easy to get started. Head to the website, or you can use your mobile device to join. Use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So that's what's actually happening. What's actually happening is you can't judge an offseason based on the first couple of weeks of free agency, but people love to. And you can't just take whatever Stephen Jones says, which is their real perception of where they are in an offseason, and say, oh, stupid heads, bunch of idiots. But that's what we like to do. Everybody's mad they didn't win the Super Bowl last year, so we just have to say they're dumbasses at everything that is going on. Stephen Jones, according to Machota, doesn't sound as interested as Jerry talking about trading up. Steven and I agree in this regard. Most people think that he's just dumb at everything. I agree with, generally speaking, if you are trading up for a non-quarterback on average, you're going to lose that trade. You better be dead balls right on your evaluation on who you're going to get and on the order of how good players are at each position. And NFL teams are overconfident in that. I fall into that trap sometimes, but I'm getting smarter. Like if you ask me who's going to be the best receiver to come out of this draft class, I need 7 guesses to feel very confident that I'm going to be right. So we shall see what the draft holds for the Cowboys. We shall see if their free agency plan involves bringing in starter caliber players to plug gaps in the next week, or if they're holding off so that it doesn't count against the old comp pick formula. Kuiper's picks for us are horrible. What did he do? Let's take a peek here. Mel Kiper mock draft. Oh, we got a 3-rounder here. All right, well, let's critique Mel Kiper. Let's see what he did, and I'll tell you what I would have done. Round 1, the Dallas Cowboys select Arnold Ebiketie, Penn State. Blech. I like Ebiketie as a pass rush prospect, and that's what happens. If you're a guy who has a really good athletic profile as a pass rusher, you get moved up the board because it's such a premier position. That's a little bit early for me. Hell, he's got Christian Watson going 22 to the Packers. Woo. Woo. Who's on the board still? We had Zion Johnson on the board from Tennessee, or he goes to Tennessee from Boston College. He could be your starting left guard. Green Bay takes George Karlaftis at number 28. I would take George Karlaftis in a heartbeat. That's a Purdue defensive end, and he is really good. Annabelle, I appreciate you in the super chat, brother. And Rick, thank you. With the pear character flying in the air with a red cape and a smile on his face. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken Ebiketie there. So if I can fix Mel's mock, we would take either Zion Johnson or George Karlaftis in the first. Ooh, or Tyler Linderbaum. I didn't see him available there. And now I scroll down to the second round pick. Oh, Kenyon Green was available too. It's a bunch of guys I would have taken before who he took. Sky Moore at 47. I haven't seen George Pickens yet, I don't think. 56, Abraham Lucas, offensive tackle, Washington State. I've got him graded as a second rounder. If you wanted to take an offensive tackle in the second round. Oh, but George Pickens goes the pick after to Buffalo. Okay, so my team would have taken Zion. Well, I would have taken George Karlaftis, honestly. George Karlaftis and then George Pickens. He's going to be so good. So good. And then in the third round, I'd probably be looking for an interior offensive lineman. But again, I could just fix it. Bo Melton, wide receiver records in the third round. I would have already had my wide receiver, so I wouldn't pick him. And there's Darian Kennard, for instance, going number 92 to the Packers. He's an offensive tackle at Kentucky, but I think he's an NFL guard. And I could have taken him in the third round. So there, we fixed Mel Kiper's mock. We just fix his stuff. It's no problem. Brad, thank you in the super chat. How they fire you before the draft. They could have waited after. I don't know. I don't know what changed in the last week from the week before, other than Believe announcing that our partnership. But Believe is just somebody who, for content creators, helps them sell, do artwork, editing, stuff like that. And I already do all those things. So basically, they just help me with advertisers. So I couldn't imagine that would be a problem. And I've been on the Eagle last week and this week, so I don't know why that would have started mattering yesterday. So honestly, I don't know what happened with the draft show, but I knew when I quit 105.3 The Fan and they were the radio partner of the Cowboys that there was the possibility that the Cowboys wouldn't be able to use me anymore because I'm not on the radio partner of the Cowboys anymore. I knew it was possible, and so it doesn't bother me at all. I'll just grow this even more. And during the draft, I'll be on here. I'll have KT join me. I'll have whoever else wants to pop on join me. We'll do the draft right effing here. Dro, what do you think of Malcolm Rodriguez, linebacker, Oklahoma State, late round option for the Cowboys? I really like him. He is a later round guy, I think. But, dude, downhill, just freaking making plays. He can run. He can work his way through traffic, and he can tackle. He'll be a demon on special teams from day one. I like him. I like him as a day 3 guy. Bobby McKay, who's worth moving up for in the first round if it took your first and second? Basically one player for 2 picks. Nobody. Honestly, And nobody's not the right answer, but realistically, like who's going to fall that you would want to do that for unless it's a premier offensive tackle, corner, pass rusher, maybe Charles Cross, but then you try to fit the Cowboys' needs into what you're doing. And if I'm going up for a position that's not one of my biggest needs, I'm leaving a bunch of holes on the roster. So I just can't see a trade up scenario unless it's a very small one because the positions that I want to address have depth and I can just let it happen. Are Steven front office really that out of touch, or is this a masterclass in trolling, discouraging either way? They're not out of touch. What's out of touch is that so many people who talk about or cover the Cowboys are so emotionally invested, and they now are so mad at the Joneses that it lacks just sensible reactions to what they're doing. Like I saw today, like people are mad that they were like, oh, Dorrance's production's right up there with Gregory's. They're supporting the guy that they just gave a multi-year contract to. Yeah, of course. They're going to support their guy who at the moment is a starter. They have to do that. They have to say that. He said they're not done with free agency, and people got mad about that. Why? They're telling you, we're not done. You can't judge an offseason on April 19th. It's silly. But people want to get their opinions and their angers and their frustrations out there. And what suffers is the realism of the conversation about the Cowboys building their football team. We got to see what they do in the draft. We got to see if they're going to flip picks for players. We got to see what free agents they might sign after the draft and what the team's actually going to look like. Jeff, you're my hero. Go Cowboys, even though they just sometimes do upset me. Is Brian coming on tomorrow? No, Brian is not allowed to do plug and play anymore. Jeff, are you okay? Bless you. I'm great. I am free and happy. I is happy. King's Shadow, trade back in round one, potentially grab another third, use your second and either your fourth or some fifths and move up to grab Pickens if he slides. If you need to, use a third to move up in the second. Yeah, Captain Trade Down loves to trade down. Captain Trade Down loves to trade down. Seems as if the no compete clause has expired for this rich kid. I don't understand. Was that an insult at me? Because here's the secret. I love the people that support me. It's badass. But anybody who has negative things to say or takes shots at me, they won't bother me because I don't know you. So your opinion of me is all good. But I'm doing great. The Brian and Jeff content is done. The fan has said no mas. Dun, dun, dun. But fortunately, I have a bunch of friends that like to broadcast, so we can make it work. We just make it work with different people. No problemo. All right, guys. I just wanted to pop in real quick. I told you it's sand volleyball playoffs tonight. Big night, 7:00 playoff game. We're the 7 seed in the rec league. If we win against the 10 seed, we move on to face the 2 seed. It's going to be tough. All right, all of you, remember that I love you. I think Jeff should just take the draft from the VP. Your picks make sense. I could go draft him now. I could go draft him now. The fan can't stop Jeff's rise in content creation. That's true. Your boy's gonna be his own boss. Yeah, that was it. I just wanted to pop on real quick because I do have to go. I gotta go play the volleyballs. But I wanted to say hi. I want to talk about the Cowboys real quick, and I'm gonna be on my way. So remember that you have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everyone.